Welcome to Carol and Gary's See America Tour.
Hello again, everyone. On Thursday, July 15th, Carol, Jasper, and I left Barr, Vermont and drove 57 miles to Rumney, New Hampshire. New Hampshire is the 44th state that Carol and I have visited together. We are camping on the south end of the White Mountains. The White Mountains were named by an explorer who, from his vantage point in 1524, thought that the highest peaks had snow on them. On Friday, July 16th, Carol and I drove 20 miles to Lincoln, New Hampshire, where we rode the Hobo Railroad. The Hobo Railroad travels on a portion of the 54 miles of historic track between Tilton, New Hampshire and Lincoln, New Hampshire that dates back to the late 1800s. During the late 1800s, this 54 miles of track was owned by the Boston, Concord, and Montreal Railroad. It served as one of the primary routes north through New Hampshire for tourists wishing to make their way from cities like Boston, Hartford, and New York to the pristine lakes and mountains of northern New Hampshire, and to points further north if they felt so inclined. In the early 1900s, the rights to the rail line were sold to the Boston and Maine Railroad, who kept the line active for many years in support of the paper mills and other businesses that depended on passenger and freight service. Passenger service faded as automobiles and highways became more popular in the 1950s, and once the last of the paper mills closed for good in the 1970s, freight service came to an end as well. The rail line was then purchased by the state of New Hampshire, and eventually it was offered up for lease. In the mid-1980s, the Clark family seized the opportunity to create and operate a railroad, the Hobo Railroad. Today, the Clark family and their employees are proud to serve as stewards of this line, which now offers guests an opportunity to experience rail travel as it used to be. Carol and I had high hopes of slowly climbing up into the White Mountains to a nice vantage point where we could take pictures and enjoy the scenery, but our ride consisted of a slow trip to a golf course 7.5 miles away, where we stopped just long enough for the engineer to throw the transmission into reverse, and then we returned down the same track to the depot. Don't get me wrong, if you have young children or grandchildren, this would probably be an enjoyable 80-minute ride, but if you're just a couple of senior citizens out touring the country, save your money. On Saturday, July 17th, Carol and I returned to Lincoln, New Hampshire to take Jasper for a short walk in the White Mountains National Forest. What a beautiful place this was for a walk. The trail was reasonably flat and well traveled. We crossed several dry creek beds where benches have been built to allow people to sit and enjoy nature. We had some great views of the mountains. We passed a small meadow. We came to a long suspension bridge that crossed a shallow stream. We crossed the suspension bridge and then I walked across the rocks to take this picture. Here is the stream from the suspension bridge. One of my longtime subscribers asked me recently in a text message why I don't fly my drone more when we get into these picturesque places. Well, the answer is that all national parks and forests are restricted airspace, as you can see by this picture. I don't know what the red highlighted area means, but the blue area is the national forest. So as a hobbyist, I can't fly anywhere within the blue area. My drone's GPS would detect that I am within the national park boundaries and land automatically. It would warn me that it's going to land, but it would land. Notice the orange circle which I added to designate where we are camping. Even this area is included within the national forest boundaries. After heavy rain Saturday afternoon and through most of the night, on Sunday, April 18th, Carol and I decided to go looking at nearby waterfalls. The first falls that we wanted to see was 21 miles away and called Welton Falls. No, there was not a more direct route there. After losing cell coverage and having to stop twice to ask for clarification of the directions, we finally found a sign pointing us toward Welton Falls. As we walked down the trail, we saw this rushing water. We continued down the trail until the trail seemed to end at the water's edge. It appears that during normal water flow, remember it rained all day Saturday and most of the night, you might have been able to cross the creek at this point, but the water was much too strong. But I think this is a glimpse of Welton Falls through the trees. We walked back to the car and decided that even though it had taken longer than expected to find Welton Falls, that we could probably still make it to Beatty Falls that same day. It was only another 25 miles, but as it turned out, most of this was at 45 miles per hour. Beatty Falls is one of those falls where the water runs down the rocks rather than dropping from above. After editing video on Monday, Carol and I decided to drive back up to Lincoln on Tuesday to ride the ski lift to the top of Loon Mountain, but they are closed on Tuesdays. As you can see from this picture, it looks like it might have been too overcast on the top of the mountain for pictures anyway. We decided to head back to the motorhome and relax this afternoon before starting to pack up for our drive to our next stop in New Hampshire on Thursday. If you like this video but have not yet subscribed, Please do so to be notified of future videos, and as always, feel free to share with your friends. Thanks for watching!